Okay. I am in trouble. I've been misbehaving. I don't know how else to put it. I've been misbehaving. And by that I mean that I brought this home. Or I should say I ordered it to my home. I have to take full responsibility. Because in this box, we not only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, not 7, 8, 9, 10. But 16 geckos. There are 16 geckos in this little box. And they're not just any gecko, my friends. They're Stenodactylus geckos. North Africa and the Middle East are home to one of the most underrated gecko genera in the hobby. I count myself very lucky to be keeping one of this species. And let me tell you, they've quickly become some of my favorite lizards in the reptile room. These are Stenodactylus, the elegant geckos. And in today's video, we're adding more of these charismatic geckos to the reptile room, as well as a new species. Let's unbox this and have a close look. All right, everybody. The moment of truth. Oh boy, let's go. Check it out, guys. Look at all of those Stenodactylus. All right, let's carefully remove some of these. Look at that, everyone. They look great. That's one of the Petri. There's also Petri. And I think that's also, okay, so there's a few Petri there. Okay. Perfect. All right, friends, now that these animals have been unboxed, you can clearly see that I have a pretty large group here of the elegant sand geckos, Stenodactylus, and those are the ones that I have a nice nano exoterra setup with a group of 4 in. I decided to expand on the project. My good friend Fadi from Daffy's Reptiles has a decent sized group of them as well, and as far as I know, he and maybe one other person in Canada are doing a pretty good job of reproducing those animals. But these haven't really come into the country in well over a year, and at the price point that they were offered, I had to make sure to grab a larger group and work with them systematically to help reproduce them and establish them, because they truly do make excellent smaller terrarium inhabitants, and their communal nature as well makes them really fascinating to keep in herpetoculture, and anything communal is very interesting. Now, what they also had available was these Stenodactylus Petri, or Petrii sand geckos. I think people pronounce it Petri sand geckos. These animals are phenomenal. They're much larger than the Stenodactylus, and their eyes are just breathtaking. Truly beautiful animals. I got very lucky. Thank you to National Reptile. I think I've been able to discern they've sent me a 2.4. So 2 males and 4 females. For those of you that are wondering, that's how you kind of do it. 2.4 is whatever's before the period is male. Following it on the right side is female, and if you have an additional point, any number after that is considered the unsexed group. Just to kind of clarify that, because sometimes you ask. So, very cool. Now, as far as the Stenodactylus goes, the Stenodactylus here are all unsexed. For the most part, they're all juveniles, which is exciting. It means that even though they're wild caught, unfortunately, because again, the species is really not established well in herpetoculture, they are quite young because they're not even full grown yet. So, gonna put them all into some housing, get them fattened up, and see what we're dealing with there. The group is large. There's, again, 10 of them. So we're gonna split them up now into 2 groups of 5, and the Petri being much larger, I want to split up individually into their own enclosures. So let's go ahead and do that now. It's gonna be sort of a quarantine bin style situation, and then we'll monitor them closely, film them at night and all that. And afterwards, I'm gonna give you guys an update on my group of 4 Stenodactylus, show you how they're doing, and I have some pretty interesting news about them too. So let's go ahead, get started. My name is Dion. I make videos about specialty pets such as reptiles, amphibians, different kinds of cool invertebrates. So if that's something you're interested in learning about, definitely consider subscribing down below. and dinging that little notification bell afterwards so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I do my best to post 1 to 2 videos a week, and yeah, it's a pleasure to share my experience as a herpetoculturist with you all. So thank you for watching. Now, before we get into unpacking all of these animals and making up their new enclosures, I'd like to ask you for today's question of the day, how do you feel about wild-caught animals in the trade? This is a very controversial issue. I'm going to share my opinion with you all. I'm a firm believer that an animal that is wild-caught should be solely used to establish species in captivity. I do not agree with animals that are wild-caught being brought into herpetoculture, or any pet industry for that matter, and being used to fulfill the desire of someone keeping an animal as a pet. Naturally, there is the pet element. I love my animals dearly and sincerely, and I give them the best care and home I can possibly do so within my means. But I do believe that an animal coming out of the wild is already made a sacrifice of being pulled out of that environment and should therefore be used to establish their species in captivity. I want to ask you how you feel about these things. We can have shared opinions, we can have differing opinions, but I think it's an important conversation to have. Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, I'll give your comment a heart, and we can engage in a little bit of a conversation. Thanks. Alright everybody, it's time to move these animals into their quarantine temporary enclosures. We're going to be using some Exoterra desert sand. I really like the consistency of this product. It's very fine and we don't have to worry about impactions. Here are my temporary containers or bins. Plenty of cork bark that'll serve as hides or shelters for the animals. And then a few small sauce containers that'll be water dishes. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to be placing a thin layer of sand on the bottom of each container. Now normally you'd want to do a few inches because these animals like to dig, but again, keep in mind that this is a quarantine setup. We're keeping things basic and minimalistic to monitor all our parameters and keep things very clean. Now we're going to place some wood in different parts of the enclosure, as well as the small water dish. And quite frankly, that's all there is to it. Very basic again, but it provides the animals with all their needs. Okay, so we have our first bin. What I'm also going to do is gently give a tiny spray on one side of the enclosure, just like this, just like that. So the walls also get a bit of that moisture and the animals have somewhere to go if they're thirsty. Okay, so here you are, sweet pea. And that's not stuck shed, by the way, guys. That's just the color of their toes, if you look carefully. That's just how they are. Really good for digging in the sand, their modified scales. Let's go ahead and put our first Stenodactylus in, see what they do in here. I'm actually going to remove these mealworms because they're way too big. The water dish isn't too deep, they could stand in it. As you can see, it's not full all the way. Okay, next one. One's kind of slim but very interesting looking, much lighter color than the other one. Come on. So yeah, again, we need to really focus on rehydrating these animals. As you can see, you're good. Let's get you in here next to some water droplets. The folded skin you can see on the lizard indicates signs of dehydration. Oh wow, wasting no time. There you go, little friend, go ahead. Drink, drink. This one too, see? They're drinking right away. Oh my gosh. They also have that water dish, so there's no shortage of water for them. Alright, here's another one. Wow, this one's quite nice. I mean, they all are, but... Now this one, from what I can tell, appears to maybe be male. You can see the penile bulge there, and the enlarged femoral pores. I would suspect this is going to be, well, it is a male, a young male. Sorry about the airplane in the background. Okay, go ahead, buddy. Go down there and do some drinking. Time to have some water. It's like the moment they step down, they just know there's water around, they start drinking. Yeah, these little guys really aren't playing around. They're really thirsty. This one is also pretty slim. I'm gonna put them with this group. You're okay, don't worry. It reminds me of one of my males, but it's quite the extraordinary coloration. This one does have a little bit of stuck shed, but I think they'll be just fine. There you go. Come on, you're okay. Good job. they're gonna find the water quickly too, I suspect. Once all 5 of them are in the enclosure, I'm going to do one more spray so they actually get some water physically on their bodies. I think that'll help them a lot as well. Okay, so here's the last one. It looks like they have a little mark there. So maybe what we'll do is put a tiny drop of Silvasorb on there and then put them in with the rest. Looks like it's cut, but it's actually just stuck shed around the spot, so they should be okay. Rehydration first. Most important thing. Okay, there you go, little one. In you go. This one is really interesting colored, like I said before. So neat. The phenotypic diversity between these geckos is really cool. They're so different. Hello! Okay, ready? Don't be scared. Just a little spritz. There we go. Everybody get some more water. Good stuff. Drinking off of each other. You're hilarious. Alright, look at that. Hydrophobic little body going in for a nice drink. Very happy to see that. Stare down with a mini little gecko. Okay guys, the moment of truth. I am concerned. Okay, good. We're good. I was gonna say I'm a little worried they couldn't get out because they're slipping on the dish, but nope, we're good. They can climb out. Nothing to fret about then. It's gonna be fun to show you all before and after, because I'm sure it won't take more than a few weeks to fatten these guys up to a healthy level. And rehydrating will make a world's difference too.
All right, time to get back to work. Remember, we have to set up 7 of these enclosures.
All right, so we have one here. Hi there. You good? So funny enough, I could be wrong. I think that this is actually, I think this is a baby Stenodactylus Petri or Petrii. Yes, it is. It's kind of funny. I'm gonna house them with these guys right now because they're the same size. But eventually this animal will need to be separated and put with the Petri group. They are quite communal, but just because this baby is not part of any specific group, I don't really want to take anything to chance. And so again, I feel like housing them with similarly sized animals is probably better for them than moving them in with a big group. So looks like we didn't get 10 of the Stenodactylus. I do want to keep this one. It's pretty cute. Don't want to return them. So, quiet little one. Welcome to your home. Go ahead. There you go. Quite a lovely little gecko. And check out those eyes, guys. Aren't they incredible? Okay, so here's a Stenodactylus. So you can see the distinct difference between this animal and this one, obviously. Lovely little gecko. You okay? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That one also looks like a male. You can see the very enlarged pore there. And the Petri or Petri sand gecko here is drinking lots of water. Okay, so here's another lovely little Stenodactylus. We'll place them down here carefully. And another one here. There you go, a little one. There. Perfect. Last but certainly not least, we have one more here. And this one's probably one of the largest of the groups. Little female, looks like. You can see. We'll gently place her here. Hi there. You drinking? Good stuff. Get hydrated. Ooh, that was a good drop. Look at the eye on that animal. Perfect. And now we'll start doing the same for the Petris. So we have a bin here. We'll pour some sand in. Again, this is quarantine. We don't need too much. We will provide the gecko with a hide of some sort that they can dig and hide under. And then a water dish. Just like that. Gently going to spray. And then our first Petri sand gecko, which is a male, can be moved into the habitat. Hello, buddy. How are you? Now with these ones, it's quite obvious which animals are male, which ones are female. So if you have any doubts, this gecko here is a male. See, they have kind of like a short tail proportion-wise to their body. Reminds me of like, not a lychee, but something strange like that. So this is a male, as I said. Okay, we'll place him in gently. There you go, bud. First Petri is drinking now, rehydrating himself.
Anyway, by now you get the process. I don't want to bore you with each animal's enclosure setup, but we're just going to keep doing that and moving a new gecko into each one so they can get situated and hydrated.
Wow, look at this one and how light colored it is. It's super neat. Again, the eyes are something else. Incredible. Welcome to your home. Okay, so for now, we're gonna go ahead and keep all these geckos above the crocodile skink enclosures. They still get enough light. There's nothing to worry about, and it's pothos. And besides, crocodile skinks also like shade. It's just gonna be temporary regardless. But they're gonna go up here, and temperatures are ideal. And I'll get that new rack set up, sort of like you just see here on the other side. A lot of big things happening, I'll leave it at that. So yeah, we'll put all the Petris here for the next day or two while I fix and set up the new rack system. There we go. Perfect. And lastly, we have the Stenos. So here and here. All set up temporarily like this for quarantine. I'm sure they're going to do really well. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I do acknowledge that this is not the ideal way to do this. I should be keeping all of these animals far away from my existing pet family in these bins set up separate until I know for sure that they are healthy. But at the same time, I'm not going to be mixing their substrate or taking them out and mixing feces into the tanks below or anything like that. So it is sort of silly of me. I want to just acknowledge that I am taking a small risk by having these animals over top of my other critters. But for space and the sake of right now getting them the right heating and stuff there, just because a lot of things are changing in the room over the next day, the timing of it is weird and I didn't want to miss getting these geckos. They're going to be like this temporarily, and then they'll have their own sort of rack or shelf where I'll keep them. But ultimately, I am fairly sure they're going to be fine and there's not going to be any issues. But I can't in good conscience tell you that this is the way to do it and I'm setting myself as a standard. This is irresponsible of me. I'm sorry. I do fully acknowledge that having these animals in the main room with the main collection is not the most intelligent or responsible thing to do. So here I'm going to show you the difference between a male and female Stenodactylus Petri. You can see the enlarged hemipenal bulge and the femoral pores on the sides, and then with the female, very unpronounced pores. Interesting observation, this male here is digging. Kind of feel bad for him because I didn't really give him much substrate yet. Make sure I had enough for everybody, but I think I'll increase the substrate level. I just have to buy some more sand. But regardless of that, he doesn't know that he has wood and sand to hide under on the other side if he can just get over there. Still cool to see. Alright guys, so we're just going to go ahead now and feed some of the stenos. These are the Stenodactylus. We have a humid hide here, ceramic, that maintains pretty high humidity for the animals. Making sure nobody's in there. Excuse me, could you kindly move this way so I can put your hide back? These guys have been doing really well, as you can see. I've had them a little over a week now. They put on a bit of weight, not a whole lot, but they certainly look better than when we first got them. So we'll start by dropping some crickets in for them. So I've dusted some 1/4 to not quite 1/2 inch, but 1/4 inch crickets with some Repashy Calcium Plus. And we'll go ahead and drop that in now and see if they want to eat. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. Hey. bad time to molt, buddy. Ooh, sorry. Alright, that was pretty good. We could call it like a feeding frenzy, really. Let our little buddies get back to it. Here's another enclosure of Stenodactylus. This is the one that has the one juvenile Petri. Some under here too. In any case, crickets are going in. Let's see what they do. Nice. Petri has quite the ravenous appetite. Alright, same sort of deal. Just gonna, whoa, take it easy. Gonna put the wood back here gently. Yeah, let them do their thing. Eat the rest of them in peace. Petri juvenile is really cool. That's a fun mistake to have received that as a Stenodactylus. Go ahead, little buddy, get back to eating. You're good. So now we're gonna start doing some Petri. There's 2 females in this enclosure. I ended up ordering another female to change my ratios up a bit. So this one does have 2 females. They're beautiful though. Look at these animals. Don't they look incredible? Truly, like the colors are so nice. They're really interesting little geckos. I really want these to pick up in popularity. They're beautiful. They almost remind me a little bit of like a Nephrus levis. Just the contrast of the white abdomen and the color tone there on the dorsal body. In any case, these animals are significantly larger than the S. Stenodactylus, so we're going to offer some adult crickets. Quite confident that they will go for those. Just see. Oh yeah, there you go. Here's the receptivity we're looking for. Oh yeah, well done, girl. It's a happy gecko. She's the one doing all the hunting here. Gonna have to watch out and make sure that the other one's eating. Might have to separate her. Wow. Happy gecko. Nice job. There we go. The other female got one too. I missed it. Look at those eyes though. What a gorgeous reptile.
The Petri are receptive to eating quite a few different feeder insects I tested them out on. And this is going to be really helpful as far as offering them variety and enriching diets.
Okay friends, so this is my terrarium of Stenodactylus. As you know, this is the original one that I set up. I believe what I have in here is a 1.3. So I'm hoping that from this new group we'll have a few more males. But as you can see, the enclosure is holding up very well. Zero issues. Background's not cracking and falling apart or anything like that. Everybody's happy, healthy. And these geckos are hilarious because, as you can see, they are very inquisitive even during the day, moving around and communicating with each other. Happy, healthy animals. And when I come in here to do maintenance with tongs, they get excited and they want to come say hi. So let's go ahead and I'll give you an example and show you exactly what it is that they do. And we can offer them some mealworms as a snack too. So here's what I mean. If I start moving my tongs around here, and doing things, watch what'll happen. Hello. No nipping each other's tails, you hooligans. So if I'm coming in here to clean poop and stuff, they get very excited about everything that I'm moving around and touching. They're just like, what is that? No matter what it is. See, I could be moving a boulder around, little rock in the enclosure, and they're like, what is that? They're incredibly inquisitive lizards. I'll move this out of the way. I'm trying to clear some space in this section here, and you'll see why in a sec. So it's a good example to show you just how cute they are when you're moving stuff around. Obviously, this isn't something the gecko can eat, but it'll still grab their attention. Like what? Do you actually think you're gonna eat that, you silly goose? How about this instead? Come. Oh. There, have a mealworm. Oh my goodness. Never gets old how... Hey! Trying to be a thief? Relax. You're good. Oh, it's gone. You can't get anything from that now. These geckos are quite funny though. Despite how small they are, their response to food is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. The way they thrash around with their food. Hey, that wasn't supposed to be for you. Clearly I didn't teach my pets to share, because this poor one didn't get anything the first time. Now this one's taking it again? Are you kidding me? Oh, are we gonna have some stealing? Oh boy. This is not ideal. Certainly not ideal. Who got it? Did you get it in the end? Nope. Don't worry. I'll give you one. Just wait. Here you are. Come. Here you go. Little gecko, where did you go? Come on. Here you go. Well done. So, as you can see, the Stenodactylus are doing great. I think one of them has dug some sort of tunnel down there, if you can see it under the wood there, through the stone desert substrate. They have their hide under the halogen light here, which keeps things nice and toasty for them. And then this is what I wanted to show you guys that I'm very excited about. Do you see what I see? We have an egg. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking the same thing as me. Diane, why isn't this buried away or somewhere more concealed? And I agree with you. I mean, at the same time, it's in a rocky outcrop, so I think that's okay. But after speaking with Fadi, he warned me that these eggs can be very brittle and fragile. So I've made the decision not to try and remove it because it's a very narrow space. And if I'm to try and reach in there and pick that egg up, I don't trust that I can remove it without cracking it. So what I've been doing is just making sure that when I do mist the enclosure, kind of get the whole area and hopefully add or contribute to some relative humidity in that space for the egg to just incubate there, assuming that it's fertile. And because these animals are communal in the way that they sort of socialize and live in groups, supposedly, according to him, they do quite fine with their babies. So that animal should be able to hatch just fine in the main enclosure with the adults and get along okay with them. So very exciting news. We have a Stenodactylus egg. Again, I'm not 100% sure it's fertile, but we can only hope for the best. And maybe that means we'll be having babies soon. But one thing I'd like to do here, and the reason I cleared this space, is I'd like to pour some of the desert sand that we have there into this space. Because with Fadi's animals, I noticed he has fine sand where his are laying. So I do want to give them the option of being able to lay in some loose sand instead of like the outcrops or digging through the stone desert substrate. So yeah, we'll just make a little beach or sandbox here for the animals to use. Here we go. Just gonna pour some in like this and see what they do with this. I am very curious to see what they'll do with this. Hopefully they use it. I don't know. Wow. They're already digging. That did not take long. I'm kind of wondering if I should add a lot more sand to this enclosure. This is very cool behavior. Huh. You enjoying that? Are you happy with that sand? Look at all that tail waving and excitement. Very enthusiastic animal. Okay, now because we did get quite the reaction as far as the digging situation goes, I am going to add some more sand here, just so it's actually deeper and truly does give the animals an opportunity to do something in that sand. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. There. That way is like a good amount of sand for them to interact with compared to before. You can see how deep that is here. That's where the line was before, and now they have that. This gecko came back to the front waiting for me to feed them, so drop in another mealworm for them. Oof. Enjoy.
Well, my friends, there you have it. A lengthy video starting a new project series with a new genus of incredible reptile. I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching me get these animals set up, fed, and rehydrated. It'll only be a matter of time before we have an exciting new update to give, whether it's some successful breeding, a rehousing into permanent terrariums, and more. Stay tuned. Don't forget to answer today's question of the day, and feel free to drop a comment on what you enjoyed about this video. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you all again soon.